My holy day, a challenge to skeptic pastors. The Sabbath is more than just a day of rest. It is a holy day set apart by God Himself. It is not a tradition of men, nor is it a ceremonial shadow that has passed away. The Sabbath is God's sign between Him and His people, a day He calls my holy day. Isaiah 58:13. The challenge I present today is to any skeptic pastor who denies that the Sabbath is both a day of rest and a holy day. Can you dispute what the Bible clearly teaches? 1. The Sabbath is called my holy day by God Himself. Let's begin with Isaiah 58:13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words. Isaiah 58:13 KJV. This verse alone should silence all skeptics. The Sabbath is not just a human tradition, it is a day that God calls my holy day. If God calls it holy, who are we to say it is not? If the Sabbath is His, then no one has the authority to change or disregard it. Skeptical pastors, can you show any scripture where God has removed this designation? If not, then you must admit that the Sabbath remains His holy day. 2. The Sabbath was made holy at creation. The first mention of the Sabbath occurs in Genesis 2:2-3, before Israel, before Moses, and before the law was written on stone. And on the seventh day God ended His work which He had made, and He rested on the seventh day from all His work which He had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it He had rested from all His work which God created and made. Genesis chapter 2:2-3 KJV. Notice three key actions. God rested. God blessed the seventh day. God sanctified, made holy the Sabbath. The argument that the Sabbath only means rest and does not mean holy is shattered by this verse. God sanctified it, set it apart for holy use. Skeptic pastors, can you find any verse where God reversed this blessing and sanctification? If He sanctified the Sabbath in Eden, how can you claim it is no longer holy? 3. The Sabbath is in the 10 Commandments. Keep it holy. When God wrote the 10 Commandments with His own finger, He did not command us just to rest. He commanded us to keep the Sabbath holy. Remember the Sabbath day, to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Exodus 20:8-11 KJV. God did not say, take a break if you feel like it. He commanded us to keep it holy. If it is only about rest, why does God say to keep it holy? Skeptic pastors, why do you preach all 10 commandments except this one? 4. The Sabbath is a holy convocation. The Sabbath is also a day of worship, not just personal rest. 6 days shall work be done, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of rest and holy convocation. Ye shall do no work therein. It is the Sabbath of the Lord in all your dwellings. Leviticus 23:3 KJV. A holy convocation means a sacred assembly. If the Sabbath were only about resting at home, why does God command His people to assemble for worship? Skeptic pastors, why do you call Sunday your holy day when God already declared which day is holy? 5. Jesus and the disciples kept the Sabbath holy. If the Sabbath was only about physical rest, then why did Jesus worship and teach on that day? And He came to Nazareth, where He had been brought up. And as His custom was, He went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day and stood up for to read. Luke 4:16 KJV. Jesus, our example, kept the Sabbath holy. The disciples did the same. Acts 17:2, Acts 13:42-44. Skeptic pastors, if the Sabbath was only for the Jews, why did Jesus, a man for all nations, keep it? Conclusion: a direct challenge to skeptic pastors. The evidence is overwhelming. The Sabbath is called my holy day by God, Isaiah 58:13. Sanctified from creation, Genesis 2:3. Commanded to be kept holy, Exodus 20:8-11. A day of holy gathering, Leviticus 23:3. Kept by Jesus and the apostles, Luke 4:16, Acts 17:2. If any skeptic pastor dares to dispute this, I challenge you. Find one verse where God removed the Sabbath's holiness. Find one verse where God transferred the holiness to another day. Explain why Jesus and his disciples still kept the Sabbath holy if it was only about rest. If you cannot, then you must acknowledge the truth. The Sabbath is still his holy day.